Hello, welcome to this series of learning programming languages such as C or C++ or Python or Java. Before we start learning any of these languages, it is important for us to understand some fundamentals. We will discuss that and then go towards the programming language. The objectives of this session are to understand what is meant by software or a program, what are the different types of softwares, what are the languages that are available, and understanding the planning tools such as algorithm and flowchart. Let's start with what is meant by a software or a program. A software is a set of instructions given systematically to the computer, telling the computer how it has to do a particular task. Now, we know that computers do a lot of wonderful things for us very quickly, very accurately. But how does it do all these things? Does it do on its own? Does it have an IQ of its own? No. So, it has to be told everything. So, if the machine has to do some work for us, we need to tell how it has to do that particular work. So, that we give it through a set of instructions, or we give it as a set of instructions. So, the set of instructions is known as a software, or it is also known as a program. Now, there are different types of softwares. So, we categorize them. A software or a program can be classified into, first one is known as application software, second one is known as system software. What is application software? An application software is a set of programs which is created to do a specific type of work. It cannot do all types of work, it can do a specific type of work and can be easily be used by end users. Now, what are the types of works? For example, let's talk about MS Word, which is an application software. What is the use of an MS Word? It is basically meant for creating a beautiful document. So I can change the font size, apply the colors, add images and present the document in a better way. And the people who use these kind of softwares, we call them as end users. Now, why are they called as end users? Because they should know how to use that software, but they need not bother about how that software is created or how it works. Now, coming back to that example of MS Word, I told you that it is meant to create a beautiful document, but I cannot use it for any other purpose. I cannot use MS Word to do some complex calculation. I cannot use it to book an online movie ticket. It has got its own purpose. It is meant to do only that type of work. Another example we can take is MS Excel. It is meant to do calculations. It is meant to do some graph. I cannot use it for video editing or playing some music. So we have many such softwares which come under the category of application software. You can take CAD/CAM softwares, the banking softwares, university managing softwares, education softwares, designing softwares. So we call all of them as application softwares. But somebody must have created these application softwares. Who has created these softwares? So we have another category of people, we call them as programmers. Programmers create application softwares using what technology? They use system software along with languages. Now, let's discuss about languages and system software. What is a language? When we humans communicate with each other, we need to have a common language so that we understand what we are communicating with each other. The same thing with computers. I told you that computers need a set of instructions to do some work. So that means the computer needs some language which it can understand. And what is that language a computer can understand? Can it really understand our English, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, Tamil? No. Then what language it understands? It understands only one language, which we call it as the binary language or the machine level language. This binary language is made up of zeros and ones. So all the instructions that you give to the computer, all the data that is given to the computer should be in zeros and ones. Only then it can understand and process it and get the work done. But trying to give all the instructions and data in a binary language or zeros and ones is not an easy task. So we cannot use this particular language. Then what do we use? We make use of another kind of language called as the high-level language. What is this high-level language? It's a language which is made up of English words. You cannot use whichever English word you want. There are some selected English words, you use it and you create the instructions. So we create the instructions using this high-level language for our convenience. But I cannot give it directly to the computer as it is. So what I have to do is, for the computer, I need to still give it in binary. So I take this high-level language and convert it into a binary language with the help of system software, such as a compiler and an interpreter. What are the high-level languages that are there? You would have definitely heard about it. You have C, C++, Python, Java, you have Go, Ruby, PHP. There are many such languages. So I have listed around 10 languages, just a few of them. You can use any one of them to create your high-level language to get the work done. So, what is the overall concept? All these days, you were an end user, you were using programs created by somebody, but now you want to understand how to create your own software, how to create your own set of instructions. So, now what you're doing is you're jumping over to the other side. From end user, you want to become a programmer. And for that, what will you learn? You can learn any one of the programming languages like C or Python and so on. Okay, now when you want to start off with the programming language, you directly don't start with that language. You don't start writing instructions in C or Python or C++. Initially, what you have to do is you have to plan your instructions. And that planning is done on paper in your own words. So what you do is, if you want the computer to do some work, take a piece of paper, write down the overall steps in your own words. Step 1. Computer should do this. Step 2, it should do this. Step 3, calculate this. Step 4, take the result of step 3 and do something else. So first you organize the steps on paper in your own words. Now once you organize this on paper, go through it. If you feel, yes, these are the overall steps that are required to do a particular job, then you convert it into Python or C or any other language. Now this planning, what we do on paper, is strictly for us. It's not for the computer. We write it in our own words. It is to organize our thinking. It is to organize the steps. So we do it on a piece of paper. Now, this technique of writing it on paper are done in two ways. The first one is known as an algorithm. Second one is known as a flowchart. What is the difference between them? Both of them are meant for us. The difference is, algorithm is you write it on paper as numbered steps. So step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. So we call this as an algorithm. Flowchart is representing the instructions in our own words in a diagrammatic way, like a chart. So which one we should learn? Should we learn algorithm or should we learn flowchart? We should learn both. We need to know both the things. Once we are comfortable with these things, then we move on towards the programming language such as C or Python. Now, I have given a sample of flowcharts, as well as I have given a list of flowchart symbols. Note down this. I just want to tell that when you are watching this series, it's important to write down the things, whatever I am discussing. And also, the code, when we start writing the program, it is important to practice it on your computer. Just watching the sessions will not help you. So you need to understand as well as practice it. Now we understood what is algorithm, flowchart, high-level languages. Before we proceed to the next topic, I have a small assignment. I had given a list of programming languages, maybe around 10 languages I have listed. I have a small assignment for you. Find out how many programming languages are there. Google it. You will be surprised by the answer. And post your answers in the comment.